Hi everyone, welcome back once again. Today we'll explore how technology has completely changed the way we communicate now. Think about it for a second. The way we communicated just a few centuries ago means the way of communication in the past, it is something that was unique at that time only. Let's go back to the past now. Let's suppose 15th century. Do you remember the invention of printing press? I'm showing you on my screen right now. It wasn't only making books cheaper, it was a massive leap to how many people could become literate at that time. Suddenly, ideas traveled further. Now we thank to this new technology as printing press. You know why? Because it promoted standardized written communication. Now come to the 19th century. Here we are having telegrams and letters. Think about for a second how people used to send messages at that time. Even if it took time, it became accessible to more people. This kind of technology developed its own language. For example, you start a letter, whether it be handwritten or typed letter, you started with dear, it's a greeting, right? And that's a convention which we still see today. Now come to the late 19th century. We have the telephone here. Suddenly you could hear someone's actual voice. It sounds okay right now, but just imagine its magic at that time. It sounded crazy. And just like letters and telegrams, the phone too brought its own linguistic rituals because you can't continue making a call without saying a simple hello to someone. Now let's jump to the late 20th century and early days of the 21st century. The cell phones. It made voice communication even more accessible, and then the internet exploded onto the scene. Think about emails, instant messages, social media, a whole new world of digital communication with its own abbreviations, emojis, and slang. Now, hold on for a second. The story doesn't end here because now in the 21st century, we have another game changer, and that is AI chatbots. They're learning, adapting, and engaging in what feels like real conversations. Think about it for a second. Just like the printing press for the standardized written words or the telephone for spoken words, AI chatbots are creating new ways to interact with information and even with each other. They're developing their own kind of language. But for a second, just think about it. Do we treat them like assistants or like conversational partners? Or do we use specific keywords or commands with them? It's still evolving. Now, this is the point when I'm going to discuss your exam question with you. It says you have to find the most important issues raised in the text relating to the causes and the effects of the expansion of English around the world. You also have to refer to the specific details from the text and the ideas examples from your wider study. Now look at the title, ChatGPT is cutting non-English languages out of the AI revolution. I must say this is a very strong claim because the phrasal verb cut out used here, it shows a complete exclusion, which is not entirely true. Well, we can say that it is creating a digital divide within AI revolution by marginalizing non-English languages, but they're not completely cutting all the languages out. But they're certainly not providing equitable access or the performance. The strapline clearly states that AI chatbots like ChatGPT are less fluent in languages other than English. How can you prove this? From the same article, there are several traces supporting this claim. For example, Fung, a computer scientist, her claim is while she was testing the language skills of ChatGPT and its rival chatbots, it was discovered that they're significantly less capable in languages other than English. Then you talk about a nuance study, which supports the same claim. Like the AI systems are good at translating other languages into English, but they struggle with rewriting English into other languages, especially those like Korean, with non Latin scripts. Then there is something else which nuance study reports, and they are something from ChatGPT, but ChatGPT seems to fabricate information. For example, to some question, the reply, the bot responded as, "This is an English sentence, so there is no way to translate it into Vietnamese." So it means that users in the non-English languages get a less reliable and potentially misleading experience while they're working with this chatbot. So one of the issues is that chatbots are less fluent in languages other than English. That non-English languages are being disadvantaged here. After reading all these statements, do you know why ChatGPT perform better in English? Just think for a second. Don't you think this is largely due to the vast amount of English language data? that these chatbots are trained on. If this trend continues, AI could further solidify English position as a global lingua franca in the digital realm, making it harder for other languages to survive. Now we are looking for the traces showing English dominance here. Like ChatGPT is threatening to amplify existing bias in global commerce and innovation. Nguyen expresses the same fear in the article that we are going to exacerbate the bias for English and English speakers. What would be the effects of this dominance now? Computer scientist Gen Fung highlights that if you do not publish papers in English, you are not relevant. Non English speakers tend to be punished professionally. So, one of the causes can be the linguistic imperialism. Philipson's theory of linguistic imperialism states that dominance of English is not accidental, but tied to historical power structures. For example, British colonialism and US economic and cultural influence. Fung's comment here that Americans are not incentivized to learn another language. The burden of communication often falls on the less powerful party. This means non native English speakers often make more effort to adapt. It is also reflecting a societal attitude here that influences and is influenced by the digital tools available. If the most powerful new communication tools don't value multilingualism, it sends a very strong message here about which languages will matter in the digital age tomorrow. Let me tell you the idea of linguistic imperialism comes from Antonio Gramsci, who provided the foundational theory of hegemony, or you can say hegemony. But later, the same idea was applied specifically to dominance of language by Robert Philipson, who is known for his work on linguistic imperialism, which was again a related concept. At this point, you must be familiar with Philipson's two metaphors, which he gave to critique the dominance of English language. One was lingua cocula, and the other one was lingua frankensteinia. Lingua cocula means English is considered as a cuckoo in the global nest of languages. Since cuckoos substitute their own eggs for those in place and induce other species to take on the feeding and learning processes in the similar way, this English dominance can lead to language shift and potential language death. Now, lingua frankensteinia. It is considered as a language that terrifies and exterminates others. It's just like a monster, right? What could be the effects now? Imagine a world where AI speaks only one language fluently. Does it lead to a loss of other cultures too? Means no language, no culture. Because language is not only words, language keeps the whole culture within. Is it a new form of cultural imperialism then, where one cultural language dominates others? So there are some traces as well in the same article. People are going to follow the norm and not think about their own identities or culture. It kills diversity, it kills innovation. This is the core of cultural imperialism. It will lead to the neglect of other languages. If an Indonesian store owner has to use English to reach global markets using AI, as one initially imagines in the article, it's a one way process then. If AI can't understand or effectively translate these dialects or non English languages, those forms of communications are sidelined in the digital realm. The quality of opportunity is clearly threatened if the digital tools for the global participation are set to highlight one specific language. According to Kachu's three circles model, the inner circle, that is native English speaking countries, often holds normative power, as it is a norm provider. And you can imagine technologies developed there preserve the same reality. One of the causes may be English language data is abundant online, leading to better performance in English. This may not be a deliberate act of suppression, you can say, and the dominance of English is more like a reflection of data availability in the digital space. But if this AI tools essential for education, commerce, or information access, let's suppose, and it work poorly in one's native language, but well in English, this could accelerate language shift, where communities use a dominant language, that is English in this case, in more domains and leading to the neglect of their own native tongues. Now we have come to a position where we can discuss how chatbots help us to imagine a rosy future, as it was mentioned in the same article by Fung, and how technology can help us bridging language barriers. Do you remember David Crystal? He has explored how the internet and digital technologies can provide new platforms for non English languages. So we can consider the technology not just as a threat, but we can consider it as an opportunity. This field is advancing rapidly. It's possible that future discoveries will make it easier for us when we design high performing AI tools for a wider range of languages. How can we bridge language barriers now? One of such examples is Google Gemini. You can use Gemini for multiple languages. You can ask Gemini to write you a text in any language, even the one you're not familiar with. You just copy that text, put the text into naturalreaders.com. If you really don't know how to speak that language, it will read it out to you in any accent you wish to hear. Researchers are also working on building multilingual large language models that are called LLMs and that are trained on more diverse data sets. There are also several other projects like Mozilla Common Voice that show the hopeful possibilities. Such projects are practically demonstrating how technology, including AI and its foundational elements like natural language processing, NLP, can be developed for and with speakers of non English languages. They believe in linguistic inclusivity in the digital era. One concrete initiative is Meta AI's No Language Left Behind, that is NLLB's project. While NLLB's is primarily a machine translation project, the large language models developed through this research will definitely form a crucial foundation for empowering multilingual chatbots and other NLP's tasks. Now it makes you wonder what the next big technological tool will bring to the world of language. What new ways will we find to connect and to share our thoughts? It's a constantly evolving story.